Hello everyone, my name is Christina. I'm from the Museum of Early Trade and Crafts in Madison, New Jersey, and today we're going to make some woven bracelets using straws. So this activity takes about half an hour, depending on your weaving techniques. So the items that you're going to need, you'll need a ball of yarn, a scissors, some tape, and 3 straws. So this is ultimately what we're going to be creating. So to begin, you want to tape your 3 straws together at the end. It's a good idea if you happen to have straws that have these little lips in the bottom, it's a good idea to kind of tape them close to the bottom because those little lips make it difficult for you to remove the yarn at the end. So when you're creating your yarn, you want your straws close together at the bottom, but kind of separated towards the top so that you can weave your yarn through, and it gives you space. So a little bit closer together down here at the base, and a little bit more space up at the top so you have the ability to weave. So you can remove your tape, and now you're going to start with your yarn. So you want to leave a little bit of a tail, which will give you something to be able to tie off at the end. And you're going to start by placing the tail on top of the bottom straw. And then this is where the weaving comes in. You're going to take your yarn and you're going to weave it under the middle straw and then over the top straw. So it looks like a weaving pattern. You have yarn on the bottom straw, no yarn on the middle straw, yarn on the top straw. Now, when we're making our way back, we're going to put yarn under the top straw, yarn over the middle straw, and yarn under the bottom straw. So if you see here, it's the alternate. So yarn, space, yarn, space, yarn, space. And you're going to alternate this process of weaving for the next couple minutes. It's also a good idea if you want to give yourself a little bit of leeway with your ball of yarn. So you're going to continue the weaving process. Now you're going over, under, over, under, over, under. And every couple loops, it's a good idea to push your woven strands down towards your base, down towards the tape. So we're going to weave under, over, under, over, under, over. And it's always the opposite. So you're never going to do the same thing 3 straws in a row. You're going to do over the straw, under the straw, over the straw, under the straw, over the middle straw, under the bottom straw, over, under, over, under, over, under. Remembering to push down towards the base where this tape is. So just keep doing this for a couple minutes. And you want to try and weave as close as you can to the end of the straws, because this will make the tying off process where you have to knot additional pieces of yarn that we're going to cut in a few minutes a little bit easier. You can kind of decide when you want to finish the weaving process. You can go as close to the end of the straws as you want. You can leave a little bit of space. It's up to you. So at this point, You've woven most of your straw. You have the beginning tail that you started with, and you're going to snip an additional tail at the end. So you have an end tail, you have your beginning tail, and now what you're going to do is you're going to take your ball of yarn and you're going to cut three additional pieces. It has to be a little bit longer than the straws themselves, so you can take a measure, whatever you think. Give yourself a couple inches on either side. And then your pre-cut yarn you can use to measure additional yarn from the ball of yarn itself. Okay. So now you have your woven bracelet and your three individual pieces of yarn. You're going to take each piece of yarn and you're going to feed it through the straws. Slow and steady, gently pushing the yarn through the straw so that it comes out the other end. If you find that you need gravity to help you, you can turn your straws vertically and gently push the yarn through the straw as it makes its way out through the other end. So I can see the end of my yarn is coming close to the end of the straw. Just gotta keep pushing and have some patience. It will eventually make its way out. So once you get to the end, you can pull, but don't pull it out the whole way. You need to leave straw and yarn out even with the straw. And we're going to repeat with the second piece of yarn and the middle straw. Again, if you find that you need a little bit more help with gravity, turn the straws vertically as you gently push the yarn through the middle straw. It will eventually make its way out. I can see it's starting to peek out close to the bottom of the middle straw. We're getting there. Some pieces of yarn and straw are just a little bit more stubborn than others. Awesome. And even when you have a little piece like that, you can gently pull the yarn through the middle straw. So at this point, you have yarn through the first two straws, and you also have your beginning tail and your end tail. Now you're going to work on your third and final yarn through the bottom straw. So again, you're gently feeding the yarn through the straw. Just keep pushing and eventually it will make its way. Again, you might find that you should tilt the straws vertically so that gravity helps you a little bit. Great, so now we have our 3 pieces of yarn through our 3 straws. We have our beginning tail, we have our end tail, and now we're getting ready to finish off our woven bracelet. So at the top, or the untaped end of your straw, we're going to tie the piece that we finished weaving with, this little piece right here, your end tail, with the new pieces of yarn. So the closest piece is probably a great idea. Make sure you don't pull the yarn through the straw, but you just want to tie it off, creating a little knot at the base. You can do a double knot if you want. But again, make sure you're not pulling too hard because you don't want the yarn to pop through the straw. So you're tying 2 pieces together, you're going to tie the other 2 pieces together, creating a knot. So this you can hold them, loop them, pop through. Creating a quick little knot. So now when you pull your pieces together at the end, they're not going to pop through because you have these 2 knots at the end. You're going to tie these 2 knots together. So you gather all 4 pieces of yarn, loop them around to create one simple knot. So when you pop the pieces of yarn through the hole, you want to make sure you have all 4 pieces, which we do, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to you'll secure the bottom of the bracelet with a knot. So now you have a knot at the end, you have your woven bracelet, and you have the remaining bracelet pieces of yarn at the top. Leaving these pieces alone, you're going to gently shimmy your woven bracelet down. So push and a little pull, push and a little pull. It might take some muscle, that's okay. And don't worry if your knots get separated, because you'll be able to tighten them again once the straws are removed. So you see here we pulled the first base off. We're going to keep pulling, keep pulling. Keep pulling. A little bit of pushing and pulling. And now we've removed our woven pieces from the straw. And we have our 3 pieces that we wove through. So you're going to continue pulling and pushing so that you create a tight weave. Because ultimately you want it to look like this. Okay, so you're pulling your 3 loose ends to create a tight weave. We're going to lay this out smoothly on a flat surface so you can manipulate it how you want so it gets in the right shape. And then similarly to what we did before, you're going to take 2 pieces, the beginning tail that we started with, and you're going to knot it together with one of the pieces of yarn to tie off. I like to do a double knot because it creates a secure knot. Then you're going to tie off the other 2 pieces of yarn that were put through the straw. Again, a double knot can make it a little bit more secure. And then you're going to take both pieces, both knots, all 4, and knot them together. So again, gather them, loop them around your finger, make sure you're pushing all 4 pieces of yarn through the hole and pulling tight. And there we go. So now we've created our woven bracelet using straws. At this point, you can have an adult help you, and you can attach the two ends together for your bracelet, or if you'd like, you can use them as a bookmark. So thank you for joining us today for our Weaving with Straws activities. Please check Facebook again for more activities, and thanks for joining us.